So as you're heading out to one of these provincial park campsites, what you'll find on the beginning of the road to the entrance of the Forest Service roads are markings like this, the great big signs posted on all the Forest Service roads throughout British Columbia. Here we have the East Harrison Forest Service Road. On this one they're using the road channel RR18. And down below there with the radio call, they actually give you instructions as to how to make the calls when you're traveling up the road. You'll be calling the even kilometers, and vehicles and trucks loaded coming down will be calling the odd numbers coming back out of the bush. So the last thing you want to do is meet up with a heavy loaded logging truck in the ditch to avoid being struck by one. So do consider grabbing a two-way radio when you're traveling up these BC Forest Service roads. Another advantage to consider of having a two-way radio in your rig is when you're coming back out of the Forest Service road, you might get to the end of the road and find yourself completely locked in. Gate is locked. There's no escape around the corners. Might be able to walk around, but you're definitely not going to drive around, and you're also out of cell phone range. So having a two-way radio is quite possible. You might be able to reach somebody on one of the channels to see if they can contact the BC Forest Service or whoever is responsible to open that gate. It might cost you for somebody to come out to unlock it, but at least you're not stuck. All right, just like that, let's get transported back to the office. And thanks for joining us. Welcome to another Soaring Eagle DIY video. In this one, we'll be installing an Icom VHF mobile radio into the RV, and one that we can transfer in and out from the pickup truck and into the RV quite quickly. And the reason for this is for a lot of people, they go camping up in the Forest Service parks, campsites on the forestry roads. The Industry Canada a few years ago generated 40 channels that's being used on the Forest Service roads. You require licensing to use those. And there's a mobile radio station license application. You don't have to do a test or anything, but basically just a form. It's quite easy to do. We've activated probably about 150 radios in the last 2 years doing this method. And if you need some help with that, do contact us and I can help you out with that. And then in order to do that, for me to help you, there's a government retention of an agent letter here too, which allows me to fill out the form for you and email it in to Industry Canada to acquire your licensing. So your license is a $42 a year annual fee to use a VHF radio. Now with these radios, it authorizes you to use our channels throughout BC, and there's about 40 channels, and then there's another 6 channels of BC and Alberta LAD channels. Now they're not like a CB where you can just use them for chit chat because they're a commercial radio, but for emergency purposes and quick communications to somebody that you're traveling with, they work really well. Now we have a mobile unit that we use, and that has 30 watts of power, which is going to give you roughly 50 to 70 kilometers depending on the terrain and how open it is. Like if you're in the prairies, you're obviously going to get a lot more distance than when you're in the mountains. And generally we put a high gain antenna, it's about 39 inches high. And that's a high gain antenna where you could use a little quarter wave whip. And then another radio that we use at times, this is only 5 watts where the mobile is 30 watts. So you're not going to get the same range. And then when you're sitting in the cab of your vehicle and traveling, you might get a couple of kilometers sitting in the cab. So what you can do is put a mag mount antenna on the roof of the vehicle that you're in, and it would likely increase the range of your 5-watt portable radio from, let's say, 1 or 2 kilometers up to 15 or 20 kilometers using just a handheld portable. Now this is a little bit more user-friendly if you're going to use it in the quad or put it in your pocket or take it with you when you're hiking, whereas the mobile unit is more of a installation purpose. You could put it on a quad, but definitely in a pickup truck or inside the RV, which we're going to do. And stay tuned, and we'll just show you just exactly how that's all going to work. So we'll see you at the RV. All right, got the tools, got the gear, the radio. Let's go get it installed. So let's just go inside and we'll move out the awning. It is overcast and cloudy today, but 9 degrees Celsius, even though we're in the winter time. Haven't had any snow yet this year, but just in case it starts raining, get some gear on the table here, keep it dry. Let's see what we can do here as far as the switching. I do have a safety switch here, and when I fire that on, the switch should light up here for the awning. Let's move that out. Make sure the door is closed here so it doesn't get hung up on the track. There we go. A little rain dripping off there onto the table until the awning gets out far enough. I don't move it out too far and hit the boat. That should be good, just to cover the table there for working on today. All right, there we are, all set up under cover, and our Icom radio program ready to go. I-beam antenna, some dielectric grease that you always want to put onto the base, and then our secret for the day is these 3-inch magnets that we found on Amazon. And what we'll do is we'll put that right on top of the bracket, and boy do they ever hold. And all I did is I bought a 4-inch metal plate that's being used for an electrical box cover. Painted it black just to make it look a little more inviting to the environment. And what will happen is when we take this radio, we'll just clip it right onto that bracket, which will allow it to become a disconnect. So let's go ahead and put some dielectric grease on the fitting and get the antenna mounted. So this is what I always strongly suggest, is using some of this dielectric grease to put on the end of the connector. There's a little pin, spring-loaded pin that you'll see right there, and just work a little bit onto that connector. I always put a little bit on the coupling threads as well, and work some onto the pin and connector, and it'll stop the corrosion in most environments and make your antenna work 3, 4, 5 times better and last a heck of a lot longer. So just work that in there, and then we'll go mount this up on the roof. What we'll do here is just unscrew the cell phone booster antenna that we put up here originally, and what we did is ended up mounting one of those fiberglass antennas over on the other side. Got just a little bit more gain out of that than this one. So this one's typically used on trucks and vehicles, a little lower profile. There we go, NMO 3/4 inch mount. This antenna will screw right onto that for our VHF two-way radio, 39 inches long. So we're still low enough, we won't hit any overpasses, but you do want to watch if you put this on a taller RV. There we go, looking all pretty and rugged, almost like a professional would have installed it. Let's go inside and hook up the radio on the cabinet. Okay, in this situation, it looks like about right there is where I'll mount the radio so it doesn't get in the way of the TV, and I can still look back there at the controller for the battery. So that's where we'll drill the hole for the wiring and cables to go through, and the 12-volt line will drop down the wall, and we'll remove that plate and hook it up to the 12-volt battery down below. So let's drill a hole and get going on it. Okay, so what I've got here is a 1 3/8 drill bit that fits our plastic grommet. I'll put a link in below where I buy these from on Amazon, a couple different sizes depending on what I'm doing for cabling, but we're going to put a bigger hole in here. You never know, in the future we might need to put an AC 110 connector through that. So if we start off with that, and it just tidies everything off, having a proper cover on it, and just drilling a hole through the wood and leaving it that way always seems non-professional to me when I see that happen. So let's just draw. There we go. Just like that. Put that aside. Alright, we'll just put this little cover on the bottom here. Tidies that right up. Voila. Okay, that's where our wires will go through. So before we run that 12-volt line in down the wall, what I'll do is I'll just mount that microphone clip, and what I'll do is just mount it on one of those mounting screws right there. It's a 5/16 socket. Off the bed. There we go. Plug that right in there, and you have yourself a holder there for the microphone. So that's what it'll look like. Okay, I've removed the cargo top here where the bed rests on top, and what we've got here is our 12-volt hookup down here. I have another DC source output where I'll hook the radio into, and it'll have its own fuse source there as well on a 20 amp fuse. And what I did is I intentionally built an empty cavity up the wall, up to the cabinet up top, to drop a electrical fish line down in case I want to run some more wires. And they come out of this little port. I can just drop them right down in here, so in the future if I want to hook anything up. And then we have our massive on-off switches and fuses here for distribution. So I've got this DC circuit here for some of my electronic gear, which is isolated on the same 12-volt but isolated through another fuse system, and it goes over to the main panel over here, which has its AC and 12-volt distribution as well. And all those cables actually go underneath the floor through a PVC pipe from one side to the other, and they come up in there and go under the belly. And there too I just leave a tape, an electrical fishing line or fishing tape, whatever you want to call that, and I'll leave one in permanently in case I want to put some more wires through from one side of the trailer to the other side. So let's go ahead and just pull this 12-volt cable down. I've already have it taped up. So another little secret of the trade here, whenever I use tape to tape the wire to the fishing tape, I always back tape, just fold it over a little bit, because there's nothing worse than it being glued in tight and digging with your fingernails trying to get it back off. So I always leave some tag lines so I can grab that tape and pull it off real quick afterwards. So what I'm going to do now is just pull that tape through, and we'll hook up the 12 volts. Sorry for a little bit of shakiness going on here, but I'll just set this up on top over here and see what we're doing. Here we are. Gotta watch the other end there. Just poking around, if there wasn't somebody in here to poke their eyes out. So we'll just leave a little bit extra line up top here, and see, now I can just grab these tags here and pull that tape off real easy without digging with my fingernails to find the end of it. Braided, and then spend 15 minutes digging at the tape. We'll get that fishing line out of the way, and we'll reposition the camera here and just hook up our 12 volts down at the bottom there with the fuse on it. Okay, let's get the power cord hooked up here. So red, as normal, always goes to plus 12 volts, especially here in Canada. And I'm sure the US as well, but not sure about the UK. So we have a couple extra circuits on this 12 volt panel right here, I'm just going to go on this one. The fuse has been removed, and it shows the red light comes on that I'm hooking something to it, which is kind of a nice little fuse block. So let's try that again and not drop into the screw. There we go. And we'll get started. Must be rather fine threads on there, a little bit hard to get going, so I'll just turn the video off here for a second while I go get a magnet and fish out that other screw. Yes, so of course it dropped between the two batteries. Took a little bit to fish it out, but I did find it eventually, and didn't want to bore you with that, so here we are. We'll try that one more time with another wire connection here without dropping it on the floor. Is a finicky little thing for, need some dexterous hands here. Bend that in the right position there. Come on. Oh, come on. There we go. I think we got started. Oop, nope. Man, those threads are sure fussy. There we go. All right. A little bit of patience goes a long way. Tighten that up. And what should happen here, when we hook up a fuse into that output, we should get power up on the radio. So let me just re-angle this here. I'm looking for my 20 amp fuse. There it is. And we'll just plug that into the circuit with the red light, and so indicator that your fuse is either missing or popped, so that's good. Okay, we're in there, and so if we go up top here, we should have some lights on the radio. Let's have a look. Voila. Okay, we're on lad 3 here. We'll try and make a call here, see if anybody responds to us. Just a radio check, lad 3. Anybody got a copy? Testing 1 2 3, lad 3. Anybody got a copy? Okay, most people are usually on lad 1 in this area, even though it's close to Hope. I think it's beyond Hope that lad 1 is supposed to be the one that becomes active, but it does get used in the parts of the just past Hope here. Just a radio check on lad 1 1 2 3. Anybody got a copy?
You're good.
Yeah, just out Agassiz way here. Whereabouts are you?
129. Exit 129 westbound.
All right, thanks, buddy. Yeah, working good. Got some good distance out of it. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, you're good up here at the Rosedale turnout. Get over here and let me
All right, thanks, guys. Okay, so there we go. Now if you've got this thing mounted and using the RV as your home base, and you've got some quads or guys out hunting, just biking and quadding, going for a hike or whatever, have a portable with them, and you're back at base here with an antenna up on the roof, you're going to get about 60-70 kilometers. That last conversation there was close to Surrey, all the way from Agassiz here. And what you can do is just use this radio as a base. So if you got your quads out in the bush and they're breaking down and need some help from base camp, give this a try. For a few people that are using this already that way, and we did one here about a month ago where they're using it in 2 separate vehicles as they're RVing, use it for communications between them. Now I just want to remind everybody that you do need a 2-way radio to go legal with them. Industry Canada did up the fine from $5,000 to $50,000 if somebody's caught using it. There's a maximum penalty they can issue somebody. Normally they might not do that, but be well advised to get a license. Everybody gets a license when you go fishing or driving, etc. and hunting. You need a hunting license, so VHF two-way radio needs that as well. So in our business, we can't install or hook up a radio without a license. So there you go. Thanks a lot. So now I'll just clean up that wiring a little bit there, put some tie straps on it, and at this time I just like to people know like how you acquire all these skills for doing radios and satellite TV, antennas, cell boosters. Over the years I worked for Motorola Canada for about 10 years, for ICOM Canada, for Rogers, for Bell, for Shaw Direct Satellite, installing fire department radios into trucks, and acquired a lot of tools and equipment to be able to do that. And in the back of the truck here, or back of the trailer I should say, this little trailer comes outfitted with power. So I'm doing a mobile service job somewhere for over the years. Lots of little bits and pieces and parts in the cabinets there. Usually bring my own ladders. Have some solar power up top there to generate some power, and then usually come with a whole bank of tools and bits and pieces. And of course over the years just acquired a lot of little trinkets, and boy do these cabinets ever come in handy from Home Depot. All these little boxes filled with little connectors and pieces and adapters and cables, and you have it. And so that's where my skill has been since I was about 19 years old, 67 right now, and still enjoying what I'm doing. Find it more as a hobby, and just kind of appreciated taking some time off this last year and spending some time building this little getaway trailer. 14 feet long, has a lot of little neat little toys in there to use. I want to use it for winter camping this winter, get in the snow. So maybe later on we'll have a bonfire with you all. Thank you. See you in the next video. Please do like and subscribe if any of this stuff interests you or has helped you a little bit in some of your projects. And we'll catch you later. Now this is the part that I really like about this install, just how easy it is to actually remount the radio and take it out and use it in your truck or other places. So what you can do is just turn the power off and just give the radio bracket a little tilt, pull it off the magnet, unplug the power in the back, and disconnect your antenna. There you go. And go and install this radio into your truck when you're driving. So you can use it in 2 locations, doesn't need to remain your RV unused.